Hey everybody, it's Obi-Wan Pez and Simplex Pachinko, and we are at it again. So here we're going to be doing some astrocartography for um, Super Chicken, and currently we appear to be missing some sound effects. That's slightly annoying. It's all good. Alright, right now we'll get a whole bunch of merits for Lyongri. And also, we're trying to increase our... That might be it. Probably not. Yeah, okay. We're trying to increase our reputation for LTT 198 order so that we can get into there. Yeah, we didn't. So we can get into the star system LTT 198, that's in their name, which is currently permit locked. So we're trying to, as we go about doing whatever we're out there doing, we're trying to figure out any way in which we might be able to help them out. If it's on the way, great. If it's not on the way, then that gets kind of annoying. Actually, we do have something that's going to increase. Nope. Never mind. I thought this station had our cargo hold that we had sent over from another location. Obviously, that is not this place. Why is that like this? And at some point tonight, I want to talk about my new D&D character that I'm rolling up for an RPG we're doing next weekend. So just thought it might be interesting. If anybody's not terribly interested, you know, don't worry. We'll talk about a lot of other stuff too, and do a lot more elite. LTT 198. Try again. That one. Yeah. Well, that's not going to help. Alright, so I'm turning... Why? I have two cells in this entire thing, which have decided to turn themselves a completely different color. So, really not helpful, but we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. And we'll probably fix it at some point. How y'all doing? Okay, so what we would need to do at this point is to go... Nope. No outstanding missions. We need to scan megaships and rescue escape pods in undermining systems. So these pods will count towards your total once scooped into your vessel's cargo hold. Interesting. That was not how it worked before, but okay. So we are going to look at the nearby systems and hopefully cross-reference these with systems that I have over here that we have not looked at yet. So, Ugandan, we have actually looked at LTT 9795. We looked at earlier. Tavki, we have not. So, go over here. We will select Tavki as our next system to look at. And then, nope. Launch. Hope everybody had a good Monday, as much as you can have a good Monday.
Ship released. Engines engaged. Cargo scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted.
Oh no. That's a lot of sounds that are not there. Not close enough? Oh, that's an advert. No, we don't want that. Jeez. We want this. Wake. Strange wake solutions. Nice. We don't have the permit. That would be interesting if we could follow a wake into that system, but I don't think we can. Okay. Set ourselves as working the system.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Okay. 100%. We have asteroid belts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ringed planets. In addition, we have 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2. So 3 points of interest. Plus 2 megaship. Actually, can't remember what I said now. What is this one actually called? Orchestral Falcon. It is a dockable megaship. Okay. Yeah, that is, I had it as its own separate thing. So 1 megaship, 1 dockable. Alright, other than that, not a whole lot that's all that interesting. And we don't have a ringed star, so that doesn't really do what we want for this particular list. Okay, now, let's see. I think we said Kolrind, which is like 60 light years in the other direction. is not the other one we see here. Aryamin Aryak. I don't think this is anywhere near here, but yeah. 105 light years in, again, opposite direction. Alright, what else we got? Red dot. Redo? Actually, it is here. I thought it was missing last time I looked at this list, but I apparently did not actually go into it. Yep. Yeah, can't jump that way. Let's just double check real fast. Do we have any 198? No, they're not here. Alright, so we can ignore that. Okay, got 100%. Really nothing here. Okay, so no asteroid belt, no ring stars, no ring planets, and the only thing of note is probably like a megaship or something. Quits station. LTT 198 order is here, so we might as well stop over and see compromised navigation beacon. Let's stop over at Wits Station and Wits End, if you will. Let's see if we can't get a few merits. Throwing some money their way. Alright. Come back out over here. Alright, we're good. Also, this is going to be a big gas giant that we can scan. Using probes is probably going to be like 18 to 21. 21. Let's go. 6, 7, 8. Alright, we drop 8 probes. I'm doing 8 for this one because it's an exceptionally large planet. Most of the smaller gas giants, if it's like 18, I'll do 6. Maybe 8 if it seems like I'm not going to be able to get a good angle because of the rings. And then, looking at the back side, you can go further here. Go out to about there, I think. Might not even have been far enough. Some other cases. Yeah, not far enough in the last two. And then go like this. Come a little bit inward from here. See how this goes as well. Hit 90. Alright. And to get to its station. Got it. Nope. Up. We're on the other side. Throw our request. $41. Oof. Almost had it. Come on. Not wanted here. That's strange. I don't think technically the ship landed. At least not all the way. It didn't go kerchunk. And so because of that, yeah, something's wrong. There it is. We might be getting a few lags. There it is. Alright, so we now have allied with an LTT-198 order. I should, in theory, be getting a mission very soon. which is going to ask me desperately to do something for them. Yeah, I can't do combat in this ship. Strange that it doesn't actually show all 7. Okay. We said that in here we had nothing. And yes, I know, how dare I say that, but... Hey, Megalomorph. Teach you how to turn towards a targeted enemy. Can't get out of the goddamn tutorial. Okay, so do you have a HOTAS system or some sort of flight stick? Because that'll make things easier. If not, mouse and keyboard's fine. And I will get out of the station so that it'll also make it easier for you to see what I'm doing. I think I might need to relog in order to get the this mission to show up, but that's fine. Oh, or I need to go back to their, like, main station. So close. Okay. So you see that I have now targeted the anaconda that is ahead of me. Now, interestingly, it's not actually... It hasn't actually targeted it. Nope. No, it's still locked onto the... Still locked onto the station. There we go. There. No, it's still locked onto the station. Alright, cool. We'll deal with it as the station. So what we're going to do is let this guy boost out, and then we're going to scan the wake. And then it's going to do its own thing. Okay. So this is locked onto the station. If you notice, there are multiple locations on the HUD in front, which have some sort of interesting thing on it. The ones that are rectangular are going to be either ships, or they can be cargo. They can be, in this case, these frame shift drive wakes, and also then the station, which, sorry, that way, over that way. This has automatically selected the station, even though it's not highlighted on this thing. There we go. Alright, so if I turn every which way, you can now see that it is currently above me and just slightly to my, to the right. So if I turn slightly to the right, I'll get it like directly above me, and then I can pull that way to get it right on. Now, enemy ships also tend to move, so if they're trying to also chase you at the same time you're chasing them, you could just get into like this spiral that nobody's actually going to win. So here we can lock on to the target, turn ourselves in any which way, etc., etc., etc. What happened to just using the force? I know. If you look just to the left and above that central HUD, where we have like all of the cool stuff that, or the radar, right? What you'll see is, it's probably LADAR technically, but whatever. just left and above of the radar is a nav ball. So this actually tells you what direction you are facing compared to where you need to be facing to see that thing. If you are on a hollow circle, you're going to see this is behind you. So naturally, if you check the radar, right, the station is behind me and above. So that's why we see it's a hollow circle and it's above, so therefore it's behind and above. You could either come around on it sideways, or you can come around on it just straight up. When it gets in front of you, it's then a solid ball. So here, we can see it's right on the edge, directly above me at the moment. The thing that looks like Saturn... No, that is Saturn. The thing that is right next to 3 little wavy red lines that says 29%, just to the left of that. There's the nav ball. It has 4 quadrant arcs, and then the light blue dot at the top of it. Yeah. Now these 2 things are just my bobbleheads. So I have a bobblehead of Saturn because that was the first planet that I ever found in a telescope, and I thought it was awesome. And the other one is the snowflake, which is the weather-themed, seasonal-themed bobblehead. Yep. So through some combination of your roll, your pitch, and your yaw, you can get around to an object a lot faster, typically if you roll into a pitch. So in this case, it's over on my left, it's slightly down below. I'm going to roll, yaw, and pitch at the same time until I get it like in my line, and then I'll just pitch to it. You can actually see what your ship's... I don't know that it's actually in this screen, but no, it's not in this screen. But you can see it on when you're docked, when you want to change out your loadout. Yeah, you can also set like what it is that your mouse does. I think it. Oh, it's I think it's yaw into roll or something like that. Is one of the settings. You can turn it off if it's starting to make you feel rather ill. I think I turned it off just because I want control over all 3 of my flight surfaces. I'm the son of a pilot, so like I've done flight sims ever since I was 7. So I'm much more into like having complete control over my airfoil. In this case, I don't have one. There's also a couple of other techniques that may help. So one of them is that you can also use your directional thrusters. That may be a little weird, especially if you don't have them if you don't know what they are set to. But typically if I'm coming around on another ship, I'll even do it on the station here because, it's huge. If I'm going to be pulling up, then I want to use the lateral thruster downward at the same time, and that'll give us more directional motion. Now, if you want to do like super advanced black belt stuff, you can also turn flight assist off.
Flight assist off.
At this point, not super good at it. At this point, I am pressing lateral thrust down and just occasionally tapping up, tapping to pull up on my HOTAS when I need it. And I'm doing, right, I'm also using my booster. But I've also got it set so that it's just push to turn it off rather than toggle, because it can get crazy hard. F and R versus A and D, probably. Oh. Break off. Okay. And then we also want to check and see if either of these two systems are on our list. So, Megalomorph, Dr. Gold, how are you doing this evening? Or afternoon, I suppose. Alright, CPO 24 is on our list, so we will go there next. Good thing, because it's literally right next to us. Also, when you're boosting out of somewhere, if you want to actually like use a frame shift drive, I was kind of headed slightly under the station. If I passed into the 7-kilometer range, I think it was, it would automatically cancel frame shift and tell you that you needed to get outside of the exclusion zone. That could be sometimes a little frustrating. So you need to give yourself enough space outside of the exclusion zone in order to have enough run-up space to reach whatever speed. Or to fully charge your frame shift drive. Alright, this is the FSS, the full spectrum scanner. You can use your, I think it's Q and E by default, to move what spectrum it is that you're looking for. I tend to start high and then work my way down. High frequency stuff is like gas giants. So as you click into each of the individual locations, you get closer and closer until you get just a solid, or just a single circle. Once you do that, you've scanned down an object. You see right there, it said discovered CPO 24-3. And then here immediately around me, there's nothing that I can see. So I'm going to back out one layer further. And your keybinds may vary, so we'll scan down to this mid-range one. Since it's just right here, I know where it is. You're looking for anywhere that has these little dots. So like this one up here. I could tell that there was something there, even though this is way back here and I can't see anything. Like, I can't see a dot anywhere on the screen. There are no arrows telling me go that way. But I can see like the radar comes up with this little hot spot. So I'm going to go over there, and wouldn't you know it, it's at this particular frequency that I was already on. So we just keep going closer and closer, scan it down until you've got it. If you're looking for a particular like chemical, there's some of that stuff at the top right. That's for like engineering and stuff, so it's going to be a while, but nonetheless, it's there. Go down to this one. Okay, and every time that you scan one of these down, the spectrum that you're looking at tends to shrink more and more and more until it just finally goes away. We'll move up. We got that one. Alright, and this has probably a ton of little... Yeah, I think this has asteroid belts around it, so we can go all the way down to the low side here. Yep. A few. Oh, too low. Yeah, okay, they're moons, not asteroid belts. So I'll scan down each of these. The full spectrum scanner generally gives you a few thousand for going to the scanner and then finding each of the planets to its available resolution. So we've been able to scan all these. Oops, there was another one in there. That's fine. So go over here, go up, grab that, grab that. And then up here we can look one more and see if there's anything useful. No. So we'll go back up here, we'll zoom all the way out, and then start moving along the ecliptic. So the ecliptic is going to be where the majority of these objects are. And now you can see up here in the high zone, we have no more blips left on our spectrum. So we can just move down, try to find the next thing. If it's not exactly a solid circle within, or a complete circle, if it's dashed like that, it means that the frequency's off. So we're going to go down a bit, and then we find it here. Get another icy body. And then here we had another one that away. I don't think there are any left immediately next to here. Since, again, we don't see any others here. When I select this spectrum, we're going to back out. The stuff at the far extreme left or low end of the spectrum is radio signals, and those are coming from ships. So we don't really care about that. They come and go as they please. So we're just going to back out and then try to find all of the moons and planets in the system. That's what we actually really care about, because those are the things that stay here forever, and it gets you a cartography bonus. So your skill goes up, as well as your... now that I just said it, is there a skill for exploration? Yes, okay. And occasionally there are some planets that are off the ecliptic. Nah, not this time. So you just tend to look for those. Once you get to 100, you can exit out. And now we're in CPO 24. We've got the whole system scanned via the full spectrum scanner. I'm going to get a little bit away from the sun. It's not that it matters right now, but typically good practice. And then I'm going to go into the system view, which is next to the map view. And I specifically am looking for asteroid belts. So this one has a yes in that column. I'm doing some work for one of the other streamers, and I've got a really long-range jump ship, so I figured why not. We do not have any ringed stars, so sometimes you will actually see what looks like a planet, only here it'll say it's a class Y dwarf or something like that, or a stellar remnant or other things like that. And then here it'll have these same rings. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Aren't these also probably rings? And the answer to that is, well, okay, yes, probably, but we're creating a separate category and just calling them asteroid belts instead of saying that this is a ringed star. It's kind of splitting hairs. And then ringed planets. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So no ringed stars. And we have 4 ringed planets. Notes. We have... That's a lot. one megaship and one point of interest. Okay. In addition, I have a weekly mission that says scan down some of these megaships. So we're going to actually go over there. And I'll show you how to do a scan. Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is. I optimized the audio for headset. So that's the problem. Curses. I was like, yeah, sure, let's try that. Screwed it up. Yay. Go figure, right? Alright, let's get into the space before we try to fix the audio. Alright, we are also going to scan the surface of this planet and moon, or yes, planet and moon. The megaship is in orbit around the moon, so we can aim for the planet a little more first. We're going too fast, but we can scan it, so we slow down. Alright, there we go. This requires 4 probes. My probes are set to scan a larger area, so they have a bonus to them. But my first one is going to be face on, and then I'm going to go just past the horizon, and I'm going to go 1 and opposite side 2. So the first one hits face on. It covers basically the entire face of the planet that I can see. And then here we have a dark spot for the back side of the planet. This one's going to hit. Yeah, I probably should have gone a little further, but it's fine. The 2 of them are going to cover that 90% that we need, no matter what. Alright, there are, if you notice at the top right, there are 2 geological signals. You can find fumaroles and geysers on this particular planet. So you land on the planet, you go find fumaroles, you go find geysers. And then over here, check this one. This also has 4 probes that it's going to require to, or sorry, 4 probes is the efficiency target. So I can do this in 2, I think. Show off. Again, because my probes have a larger scan range, it pretty much means that they're gonna like cover all, yeah, this one covers the entire face of the planet. So I almost know what I'm doing. Alright, so 2 geological signals, again, fumaroles and geysers. If you have 2 planets that are next to each other, it's almost guaranteed, or like a planet and moon that are next to each other, it's almost guaranteed that like they have the same composition. And then 2 human signals, which are probably like crashed probes or ships or something like that. Okay, now we're going to go find the megaship. Okay, so if you ever have a mission to come and scan a megaship, typically what's going to happen, it's going to tell you what system to go to. You find the, over in your side panel, number 1, you're going to find the thing that looks like a circle with a cross through it and lock onto it. Then, once you're in the system, you fly to it, come out of frame shift, and then you're going to have it right in front of you. You can start scanning this immediately. What you want is your data link scanner, which you'll notice here is scanning. Then you want to get close to it and try to find the contact that is listed as ship log uplink. Then you have to find it. For a lot of these, it's on the end of the ship, one end or the other. You get to within 200 meters, and then you can scan it. And that gave me 254 merits for Li Yongri. I have pledged to a power, so we get bonuses and weekly awesome stuff. So just to show what's going on here. All right, Li Yongri. His ethos in acquisition is social, so basically give a flood of discounts and media presence, inspire the system population to increase personal spending and long-term investment. So acquisition systems are those which are empty. Nobody is controlling them. Undermining, which is where I am currently, it is a system that's controlled by somebody else. So he will basically dump a huge amount of money into this particular system in order to overwhelm the other power, and then people will be like, well, this guy has our interests at heart. And then in order to reinforce, cement the control of that system by continuing to invest in industry and technology. So also finance. So this is basically like dump a whole bunch of money into it. I have over 2.1 billion credits, so I can afford to just spend. If you do pledge to a power, it does mean that other people from other powers can hunt you down. Typically, they will only do that if you are in their systems. If you are playing to do like power play type stuff in order to influence the game, like the overall what's happening with the powers, it's good form to play in open. So open does mean that anybody is able to attack you, anybody is able to interact with you if you're in the same place. Does he look a bit like Elon Musk? Sort of, but I mean he is of Chinese descent, so. But he is young and powerful, so. Right, then you have the other powers who are over here. Edmund Mann, who. Yeah, works for the Alliance and
Scan detected.
does more like military type stuff. Ashlyn Duvall, who is part of the Empire. She's like the Emperor's niece, I think. Now I don't remember her name at all. Yeah, Lavinie Duvall is the Emperor currently, and yes, Ashlyn is a nepo baby, and so many people absolutely hate her because she's also like the worst kind of rich person. Like they've done a whole bunch of like news articles about how she's been out clubbing basically, and not taking her responsibilities seriously. So the actual emperor is Arissa. There we go. Arissa Lavinie Duvall, is like a serious person and um, has an actual good sense of how to actually run things. Um, her systems are a little bit more remote from like where I work, so generally we don't even interact with her at all. Yuri Grom basically has a giant Bolshevik beard. He does a little bit of everything, but it's very militaristic. And, Yuri Grom, he's Russian inspired. Pranav Antal is um, also a tech leader, so he does a lot of technological advances, and he's trying to do um, so a little bit like Lee Yong-ri, but he's also like technology rather than here's just a bunch of money, right? Like the stuff that he's doing in the game to help stuff along is much more technology and finance and some other stuff. Denta Petraeus, I don't remember exactly what he does apart from he's part of the Empire. So, like, shrug. There's probably some information over there in the book. Lee Yong-ri, we just went over. Jerome Archer. So this is an interesting situation. Felicia Winters and Jerome Archer are actually two new characters who got split from one character from before, President. Oh, nuts. What was his name? Zachary Hudson. So Zachary Hudson was the president. He was very much military. He was very much like, we need to control systems with an iron fist and all that. His faction schismed at this last update into Jerome Archer, who is basically Hudson 2.0, and Felicia Winters, who is the progressive wing of the Federation. So like they schismed and said, we're going to break apart into the more conservative branch Archer and the more progressive branch Winters. So she does more of her stuff through social engineering, and he does more of his stuff through military conquest. Nakato Kane, I believe, is also somewhat... She might be new entirely. I think Winters maybe existed before, but I can't remember now. Archon Delane is a pirate king who's like way out in the outside systems. If you're with him, then you're probably into a lot of pirating. And Zemina Torval is another Russian-inspired empress. I don't remember exactly. I think that she has like a competing claim with the other two, Duval and Lavinie Duval. Everybody will, through gaining reputation and gaining power play merits, everybody gets a bunch of bonuses. So like 100% reduced rebuy when killed by a ship pledged to a different power in territory your power does not control. So if you went somewhere else to go and try to undermine a system and you get blown up, if you are a high enough rank in Lee Yong-ri, you don't have to pay for any of that. He'll just cover it. 100% reduced rebuy when killed in your power's territory. 100% reduced rearm prices, refuel prices, repair prices in your power's territory. Now, this does not happen all at once. It's once you reach a specific rank. So like the access to the rank decal right here, I can spray paint that on my ships right now because I got rank 1. So I have rank 4 currently. I'm going to be able to spray rank 4 on my ship. Eventually you get really cool stuff like access to the Packhound missile rack, Enforcer cannon, Retributor beam laser, all this stuff. This used to be that you would have to go to one power. Pacifier frag cannon, for instance, was Hudson's. So I went to Hudson. I really wanted this frag cannon. I went to Hudson and I pledged. And I went up to 1,500 merits in a week, which at the time was a few hours. So I did a few hours worth of work. And then I was able to purchase the Pacifier frag cannon. I then was like, okay, cool. So I put one on my ship. And then I went around and did more work for Hudson and all this over a couple of months. And and you have to have a minimum pledge time in order to get these bonuses. So I had been working for Hudson for a couple of months, and then I was like, it's about time. I want to go get like something else on this list. So I went to the location and I just bought like 20 of these pacifier frag cannons. And then I was like, okay, these are going to stay in storage for now. And then I was like, okay, we're going to defect and go to a different power. So it probably would have been Li Yongri. I don't remember exactly which one of those he had, but whatever. And the idea is that if you defect to a different power, you take half of your merits for the last 2 weeks, and those two weeks worth of merits, again half, go to your new power, and then you can immediately rank up to whatever it is, and then you have to show loyalty over a period of time, and then you could buy the new thing in theirs. Now I got to tell you, that sounds like a pain in the rear, and it was. I was just about to defect when they said Power Play 2.0 is coming out. And oh, by the way, what's going to happen is everybody can get all of the things on this list. You just have to have it at different ranks. I was like, all right, cool. So we didn't bother even doing anything. Just waited for Power Play 2.0 to come around, and here it is. The other stuff that he does, like bonus to exploration data, trade bond, things like that, I think are slightly different in the other people's stuff. So the exploration data and the trade bond, I think if you're in a military style, you get bonuses to your kill bonds. So, stuff like that. It makes them slightly asymmetric, but not asymmetric enough that you're going to want to leave to go somewhere else. Every week we get assignments. So right now I have rescued escape pods from reinforcement systems. So we, if we go to power play, there we go. If we go to power play, we can see all the systems and how they're working at the moment. This is Southern U. It is a system that Boot Brigade, which is Commander Psyche's squadron, currently has a station. So we prefer to keep that, and also we've got like most of our territory belongs to Li Yongri, so we were like, well, we're just going to pledge to him. That way we align both our squadron and our power play, and then we're going to just keep doing the same thing. Just keep it going. So when it's unoccupied, it's down in this region, and anybody can do a bunch of stuff to try and get your person installed into that system. So here in Nezhensis, we have Li Yongri in first place with a control score of 11,909, and Jerome Archer in second at 1,058. It's a harsh competition. In order to control this system, you need to pass the conflict mark, at which point the system will be in conflict, and you can then go blow up the other people. You might be able to blow them up now, but still. It's like for merits, you'll get above the conflict threshold, and then you start blowing them up uh, much more often. And then if you reach the control score here, then you will take control on the next Thursday. So everything resets on Thursdays. All of the points are tallied up, and then everybody's territory kind of shifts depending on what happens. So once you get into a system, you occupy it. It'll then join in the exploited section all the way at the bottom, naturally. And then other people from any other power can undermine your control, or then you will reinforce your control. And every week, whatever number you get here, if it's higher than the other side, you will move up whatever fraction of an inch that power number will get you. Some of the bigger ones, like here, right, 92,860 is moving the fortification up this much. Like, that's a very significant number. It's also the system's strength penalty is high, so the undermining powers have to do a lot more work in order to do anything, in order to move that needle back the other way at all. Reason being, this is fairly deep into Liangri control space, and also it was already fortified. I take that back. It was already fortified, so the penalty is going to be high. If it's in a stronghold condition, this is very high. It's going to be super hard for an undermining power to do anything. As it should be, right? It should be hard. Ads. We'll wait 3 minutes. Oi. That's interesting. Okay. Twitch doesn't say that I'm running ads right now. However, I can see them running right there. There it is. All right. That's really weird. Anyway, once you reach the exploited status, the local activities kick in that your power is preferred to do. So here we see transport power play commodities. This is for everybody. It's all the same. Transfer power association and political data. Again, all the same. Handing cartography data. Everybody's going to have that. Sell for large profits and sell rare goods are like ours specifically. So if I go to some other one, it's going to tell me what to do to undermine them. If you go beyond the front line of somebody, so like somebody decides to get smart and they're like, all right, we're going to take this one right here. It's like in the middle of the territory. It's going to be super hard to get this. It actually only says standards. That's interesting. Really? I would think. Huh. Do we not have a high? Again, I would have thought that oops, we would have a beyond frontline penalty for, like, I don't know, that system. But not so much. Okay. And some of these are very high, but only have their strength down here. So I don't know if that's just because, like, some systems have things in them. This is bizarre to me. Okay, I don't understand. Oh yeah, Zemina Torval is in Psi-Tari, and like, where's her other power? There's like 6 systems right there. But her other power is down here, I think. Pilot's Handbook? Boo. Okay, not that one. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, she's like over here, which should be quite a long way away. And then they decided to go for these systems right here. Like, what are you doing? I guess they wanted to have a stronghold like behind our lines, technically, or something. It's just really weird. Personally, I think we ought to team up with Archer and just take these out. It's going to be hard, because, yeah, that one's going away very soon. And that one's getting a little bit of a punch, but not too bad. Right, and like Ashland is way over here. That's also kind of weird. They're getting... It's so weird. They're trying for all these systems, which are way out on the side. Now, to be fair, it is possible that they are randomly distributed somewhat. That's man. That's Kane. Okay. It is possible that they are somewhat randomly distributed, and like, you know, if you randomly scatter stuff according to a like normal distribution function, essentially in 3 space, then you're going to end up with some things which are super far away, but are still technically, or which are still aligned to your power. I think like beyond, I don't know, beyond a certain number of light years, I think it technically should have been impossible, but whatever, it's fine. Or like, you know, in that particular direction, if the density of the other powers was over a certain amount, it was just like, you know, less than 1% chance. I don't know. They did what they did. there's an Ontel one over here. There's like a whole bunch. Yeah. So I think these were dropped in kind of somewhat distributed according to how they used to be in the previous iteration. And then like they've decided to knock out a whole bunch as like free systems so that nobody has them. This one, for example, Sakarabru, right? It's pretty firmly within the Liongri system or area, but like it's just not claimed at the moment. And so somebody has been really fighting on this one, 15,666, in order to try and collect that before Thursday. So it used to be that there were like kind of 3 categories, which there still kind of are. You've got the unoccupied systems, you've got your exploited fortified systems, so you're doing the action of fortification. And then you have the undermine systems, where you have somebody else's control and you're trying to take them away. So anyway, we are here, CPO-24, in Patreus space. We're not trying to undermine him actively anyway. Mostly what we care about is our own data. Right? Where have we visited and where have we not? And then, based on that information, where are we going next for cartography? Nino Hanu is on our list. Oh, boo. No, there it is. I'm not sure what happened, but it seems to mostly be working. I'm not getting my sounds there, so that's interesting. Alright, so same deal. Scan to 11%. We're going high first. Look for all of the gas giants. Over here we've definitely got something right there, so we can pop over to that moon. Yeah, and you don't have to wait for the picture to resolve or anything like that. You can zoom in and zoom out immediately, and it'll still count. Right, all that information still coming into the computer. It's just what things have you zoomed in on? Yes or no? Okay. Hey. Here, move down.
System scan complete.
Sorry. Okay, so we have asteroid belts. do not have any ringed stars. We do have ringed planet. There is one. And we have slow it down a bit. 1 megaship. That's it. Okay, so 1 megaship and planet. Is it planet 5? Yeah. Planet 5 has 8 moons. Which was, oddly enough, a criterion of the object we're looking for. So, should be interesting. Gonna go over here. Now, in theory, our mission should have advanced. Scan megaships 2. Yep, it did. So this is going to be our third. Again, all we're really doing is jumping in, scanning the ship log uplink, and then jumping back out. Hey, Sensation. Today's a good day to die. Oops. Okay. Don't roll over the pencil. There we go. Yep, so anyway, I got a message from my neighbor who was like, hey, look, I cannot join another D&D game, but if you are looking for a group, I was like, yeah, sure. First got attacked on Laserdisc. Nice. My father was actually gifted because he had done a bunch of work in customs brokerage. One of the companies that was producing said Laserdisc players paid him a bonus of 1 Laserdisc player. That was in 1994, something like that. So, I mean, this was like one of the only Laserdisc players that existed in our area. Except for, like, super rich people. I'm sure it wasn't quite that much. However, he was also gifted, like, I want to say probably 100 Laserdiscs that were all, like, MTV music videos. It was ridiculous. I do remember we have Mama Said Knock You Out. Alright, LHS 1217. Nope. Got 1212, so that's not there. Arngi. Yes, is there. We also need to go back here and... was it Rideau? Yeah, Rideau. We scanned the planet Motherlode, so that system is now done because there's nothing here. Nothing else here, anyway. Okay. And then we're headed to Arngi. So yeah, my friend said I can't join a D&D game, but if you're looking for a group, there is one that's starting up. Somebody was like kind of experimenting. He's going to be moving back to the States in like 6 months to a year, so he wants to kind of experiment with a particular Dragonlance story. And I said, well, I've never played Dragonlance, so sure, let's do it. He also said it after basically the Calamity. So if you know Critical Role at all, or if anybody knows Critical Role at all, or uh, the Calamity seems to be kind of a common theme amongst various universes. Basically, the gods had a war with each other and decided that the peoples, the mortals in the mortal realm, were no longer worthy of their advice or anything, and just disappeared.
System scan complete.
In Critical Role's case, they didn't like just completely 100% leave. They did actually stick around, but their like direct influence is frowned upon. Let's see. No ring stars, no ring planets. This is a very boring system. Alright, one megaship. And 1 point of interest. So, the basic idea is that our characters have known each other for a little bit. We're all level 3 as an adventuring party. We have decided to go out and basically make our name in the world and try to do something, whatever it is that we're doing. My character, I decided, was going to be a cartographer and have high intel because of that. I tend not to play high intelligence characters because I can't think of things as fast as my characters should. The hell? Make this easy on yourself. What am I doing? What are you doing? Dukes of Arngi? There's no reason that this guy should be taking me out of warp, so we're going to escape. So you align with the escape vector. If you are facing off against an actual human, it is... If you got somebody good enough, it's impossible to escape. You can't. They will be better than you. Their ship will be better than you. They will pull you out of frame shift, and that'll be the end of it. Your best bet, if that is the case, if it is actually a player, your best bet is actually to throttle all the way down, submit, and then start boosting in a random direction. Serpentine, serpentine. Yes, there is a way to toggle PvP off. It is called joining a different server. So if you don't want to face people, if you only have to worry about PvE or, NPCs hopping around, like that guy. That guy was just an NPC. If you only want to have to worry about NPCs, you should go to either solo or join a private group. You can join a private server by joining one of the communities. So go find an Elite Dangerous actual streamer who's out there, and then when you go and type their name into social, you can then hit request to join private group. And when you do that, they will, if they accept you, be able to put you, or you can then jump into that private server anytime you want. The only people who will be in there are the people who are currently in there. So the people who have manually selected to join that particular server, that's it. If you have friended anyone, you can actually see little tags if you're on the same server. Now that I said that, right? I'm kind of curious. Can I see anybody? No. Okay. So I can't see where anybody is on the map. So any of my friends are not in this particular server. If you want, you can also do my name. I don't use it because I don't have people. But if you, or you can do it as, you can create your own private group. Basically by just saying, like, join private server, but it's going to be for my own. If you want to input my name for it, because you want to join me at some point, maybe, it's possible. If I notice that somebody's in there, I will probably use it. But generally speaking, the places, if you actually would want to, like, maybe interact with friendly people, then I would suggest finding one of the communities. There's a number of really awesome streamers. Who actually do Elite Dangerous for a significant amount of time, and Frontier Developments, FDev, the developers, actually, like, know who they are and ask them to hang out and stuff. So I'm not cool enough. Yeah. The friendlier type people that I know, just immediately off the top of my head, are going to be like Brother Sabathius, Malik VR, Peace and Love Jody, Eralm, nuts, I forgot. And they're not on right now. Eralm _237. Rainman Games. There's a bunch more, but the reason that I tend to hang out with them if they're on stream is just like I'll hang out on their streams when they're live, and so just makes it more natural. Let's see if we can. Okay, the sound is there. It's just really light. So let's disable. That's not it. Something's wrong. It's so quiet. That's weird. Alright. Whatever, it's fine. Okay. Let's see. LTT 606, I think, is the next one to check if it's on the list. And it is. Okay, so LTT 606. Oh, good. It's not behind the planet. So sometimes you'll see the screen kind of go a little bit dark. That is not actually my character blacking out, much to my surprise. Probably should be my character blacking out, but that's actually the light bloom. Because the sun is reflecting off the planet, it washes out your screen, even if it doesn't actually wash out your screen. And then when it comes back to normal, then just kind of gets ignored. Or it tries to reset the light balance, and then you get the... Yeah, okay, we're done there. You get that dark effect. Alright, we have one belt. No surprise there. We have a belt. We have no stars, whatever. And we do have ringed planets. No ringed stars. There we are. And we have 3 ringed planets. Not a significant number of moons or anything like that. So, oops. Okay, looking in here, we have 1. 1. So 1 by mega ship, and we are going to be flying to that one directly so that we can scan it. Ah, man. Wanted, but he's part of my power. Oh. Malik was talking about the drop-in speeds and locations and things like that, and we were all yelling at him that he's going too fast around this one planet. He's like, "No, I'm not. It's all fine. Look." And he's so normally the way that I've been doing this is that the ETA, the number at the bottom, should be approximately 7 seconds. That's just like how it's always been optimized by pretty much all players. And he's flying around a planet. He's flying around a planet at 1 second ETA. And we're all just like, you're crazy. This isn't never going to work. And he's just like, it's going to work just fine. Watch. And he aims like directly so that it's on kind of the corner of the planet. He's going super fast.
Surface scan complete.
I don't like that. What just happened? That was weird. Okay.
Surface scan complete.
Ooh, that's a nice one. It's going to get really far into the backside of this planet. That's good. Ooh, that one I don't know if it's going to hit the ring or if it's going to hit the planet. So I guess we'll find out in about 3, 2, 1. Made it. Nice. Questionable. Made it. Alright, so that's what I've done. Oh, that's awful. Okay, pro tip. Probably want to do the other one first. Alright, do the front. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I made it around 7. Yeah. Too close to the edge. Meh. Alright, so that's 15 probes. 16. It's going to be way too close to the edge. 17. Nope, too close. That's much better. 18. We may have to just fly to the other side and get this, which is slightly unfortunate, but fairly likely, let's be honest. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Let's just get that giant splotch right there and not have to mess around. Right here, right to the horizon, which this is a giant planet, literally. This is 19. Alright, that should do it. Could have stood to be a little bit to the right, but we got it. Okay. Now we have to go back. Yes. Got it. So Malik was doing that on a planet, only he was doing like donuts around the planet. Um, which, like, man knows what he's doing. um, it was pretty intense. But we're all yelling because you're like, once you get under 4 seconds, it's almost impossible to hold it. You will fly past this thing unbelievably fast. So he was able to hold it and went around, and then he was like, no, you can drop onto a planet. It's perfectly fine, and you're able to do this, no problem at all. And he showed us, because what you do is you target whatever settlement or whatever it is you're going to, and then you are still going like full throttle. Oh, come on, jerks. Who's shooting me? Why? You're in a frigging anaconda. Why are you trying to shoot me? This is ridiculous. Serpentine, serpentine. Right. Now, if I was in my Python 2, I would have murdered every single one of them. But we're in the Mandalay, which is very much not a fighting ship, and I also stripped all of the weapons off of it so that we could jump farther. Joke's on me, because right now I'm doing mini jumps. Okay, so LTT 606. I think that is it for that one. Yes. LP 826. LP 825. Nope. LDS. Nope. DS. 31. No results. Okay. IKU. Oops. Nope. Dash. None. Alright. Not that one. EGM. 823. Yep. Got it.
Crane shift drive charging.
Okay. Asteroid belt check. And one planet with a ring. Interesting. Is an ice world. So, yes, an asteroid. No ring stars. Yes, one ring planet. Not impressive. So I'm trying to find candidate star systems which are going to get us the thing that we want. Needs to have asteroid belts, ringed star, and a ringed planet with 8 moons. It's very specific. 1, 2, 3. Three. Didn't look particularly interesting. Ati. Oh, it's not one of them. CD25 is not on the list. OT. Okay. No. Search exact. Because match entire contents. No entries matching ought. Okay. It's going to be pretty close to all these other ones. Just in case it is actually here and I'm not seeing it, but I don't think so. Okay. We got that one. Go torso is not there. It must be. Yes, he's on the list. LFT 179. Okay. EGM 762. Oh. Alright. It's behind a sun. Yeah. Minor details. And if anybody else is playing the game, doesn't know, whatever. I have a fuel scoop on this ship, which allows me to scoop from scoopable stars. This next one is not scoopable. It is going to be a dwarf. Or stellar remnant. Whatever it is. Brown dwarf. Nope, that is wrong. Never mind. T-Terry? Yeah, looks like a T-Terry. Yep. So T-Terry stars are not scoopable. Got 2 points of interest. There is a belt. No ring star. No ring planet. 2 points of interest. Okay. LFT 179. Nope. Vivata is not there. Pikarukan is not there. Tsujurojiu is not there. Tjurinas is, that's different though. Andowathaku Baku? Nope. Lambda? No, not that one. Lambda Are is not that one. Okay. LTT 1190. No. AFE? Nope. What is that? Wadimui. Yeah. Wadimui. Yes.
Frameshift drive charging.
Okay. So those are pirates. Do typically want to keep alert. See if anybody's turning to face you, like that one. Unspeakable victory. I don't like that. Alright.
Fuel scooping complete.
Alright, here we have another incomplete system. Got 13 bodies need scanning. For anyone just getting here or watching VOD who does not know me, my name is Obi-Wan Pez and this is Simplex Pachinko. Normally we do math on Tuesday nights, and we've been doing a lot of Elite Dangerous lately just because there was an update recently, and this power play stuff is actually pretty good. Might be addictive. Get back to you on that. I feel like I'm actually making some sort of contribution to my group. Granted, it's not a real contribution, but nonetheless. I gotta move out of the way of the star. Alright, then we can get this. Oh, come on.
System scan complete.
Alright. System scan's done. We go over to our other view. There are no asteroid belts, no ring stars, and no ring planets. There is nothing of interest here. Although, one megaship. and 1 point of interest. Um, so we had the... Yeah, I decided to make a cartographer as a character because it was like, that was the thing that is kind of needed in the world, because the Dragonlance world that this guy created um, has all these... So, like, Dragonlance by itself is well known, and it's one of the, like, standard settings that everybody puts their world in if they're feeling like doing this particular type of thing. He made the calamity happen, so, like, the gods had a war above the material plane, so everything's ruined. Which meant that all of the maps that had been produced are now worthless, because there's now, like, a lake where a meteor fell. There's whole seas that have drained and gone elsewhere. There's, like, you know, all this other stuff is happening because, again, the gods had a fight on your plane, on your planet. So I was like, okay, well, cartographer seems like a necessary thing, and my character's gonna feel this, like, probably pseudo-desperate want to get that done. In addition, he's been training, well, the way that I wrote out the background and things like that, he's been doing cartography all along and has been trained both in cartography and in calligraphy, because, you know, originally it was supposed to be like fancy maps for people who would pay for it, but now it's kind of like, oh, this is actually something that needs to be done just for everybody. So it's going to be a lot of making much cheaper maps much quicker, because that's what's necessary. It's what we need in this world. We don't have just a bunch of rich clients who want fancy maps. This is... Everybody needs really... Ouch. Everybody needs functional maps. Because there have been none. So I said, like, I'm gonna make a cartographer, and that way that's kind of like our party's purpose can just be, we're doing this for the maps. And then I was like, okay, so what haven't I done before? Like, he's got a high intelligence. I could do a wizard. I've done a wizard. I could do, you know, any of these other things. But the thing about the calamity is that now magic has basically been ruined. If you collect your power from a god, so clerics and sorcerers, basically, if you collect your power from your god, then you have a massive penalty, because at this point, like, the only thing that's going to happen is that you don't have access to their power. You have access to your faith if you're a cleric, and your personal power if you're a sorcerer. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but I've already done a wizard in one of my previous ones, so maybe we'll pass on that. And then I was like, I haven't really done a fighter. Like, I kind of dabbled here and there. I was a monk, right? El Tathvir, who's the uh, subject of our BG3 playthrough still yet to come because this thing is not working right. um, City, sector, no. What's this one? NLTT 8084. So that is not the one we're doing. YZ Fornasis. YZ Fornasis. Nice. Alright, so I have not actually done a fighter. And, like a classic sword and board or whatever else. Two-handed, all that stuff. It's only ever been just the monk and last... Like, I've had a few guys who do stuff with swords, but they're not swordsmen. And then I said to myself, hey, wait a minute. I'm training to use swords. So I was thinking to myself, oh, this is kind of like I could make a character who does Eskrima, but you know, it's the local equivalent for whatever Dragonlance has. So I open up the player's handbook, and it says that you can do two-handed fighting as like a specialty. And then I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna go a slightly different way. Ads again. Righto. I'll be back. 3 minutes. Right out. Apologies for abandoning you, but you know. So yeah, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I'm training in swords. And I was like, all right, let's essentially make this character do a screama. And that way it's kind of cool. Like I kind of made Elkar and Tathvir do a bow staff and do a hand-to-hand punch because that was kind of like where I wanted to go in karate. And so I'm essentially like making another version of myself here. It's just we're playing with swords now. Um, so I was like, all right, let's do a screama, and I am sick of all these mother effing gods on the mother effing mortal plane. Yeah, so they all right, cool. Um, so I went to D&D Beyond with our where our DM is setting up everything, and I haven't actually set up a character using D&D Beyond. It's kind of interesting. The hashtag not sponsored. Um, I'm not paying for it either. He is. So the way it works is basically you go through character creation, and it's completely a different method than I've ever done it. It starts with your class. It's like, okay, what class do you want to be first? And I was like, oh, okay. I want to be a fighter. And then what kind of fighter do you want to be? I'm like, I don't know. You could skip ahead to some other stuff, but I figured it out ahead of time. So we talked, and the fight style that he's going with is interception. So basically, if somebody is coming after one of your friends, you can actually interpose yourself and prevent damage up to 1d10 plus your level. We are starting at level 3. So that is an automatic damage reduction of 4 to 13. So I do math. So I can reduce melee damage between 4 and 13. So that's pretty nice. It does cost my reaction, so can only do it once per turn. And then the type of fighter. I was looking at the list, and it was like you could do stupid. Come on now. Really? Oi. It's not even letting me. I overrule. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So it automatically automods because it's worried that you're saying it about someone else. And so like a lot of random insults are auto-filtered. 3. Yeah. So 3 ringed planets, no ringed stars. Um, so yeah, I called up the DM and I was like, all right, so like there are 3 3 specializations that you pick at level 3. You can either go kind of your standard fighter. You can go your Eldritch Knight, which is like sword and magic. If you've seen Critical Role, specifically season 2, that is Ford's character, or that is Ford, who is Travis Willingham's character. He's like an orc that has a god imbued sword, and then also does Eldritch Blast off of the off of his hand. So interesting character, real interesting story. When they got to the point where he was like, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore because you are an evil god, and I will no longer support you." And then God's like, "All right, good luck with that." All right, we have. Ugh. Why is he pronounced it? So this is also a problem with this particular system. Like the stuff that's far out is 369,000 light seconds away. That is like a 30-minute standard trip of just pointing your ship in that direction, going full speed. It takes a long time to make those. Um, we do have the more recent SCO drive, the Super Cruise Overcharge, which will allow you to get up to 2,000 light seconds, or 2,000, yeah, 2,000 times the speed of light. So it'll allow you to do this in somewhere around 5 minutes, because you can't run it the whole time. Uh, I could probably do it in the Mandalay, but a lot of other ships just can't do it. They don't have enough fuel. Let's see. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Alright, so 4 points of interest plus 1 megaship. I'm not chasing that one down. F it. Nope, 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 nope. Nobody wants to see that. Alright, it's not even for a mission. We're not doing it. SETI sector does not have one. NLTT 8065 does not have one. We already looked that up. LHS 1434, I don't remember if I actually looked that one up, or if it was a different one, because, you know, if the numbers change ever so slightly. Ovimbia bus. Yes. Boop.
Crane shift drive charging.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of mild, but at the same time, like, if you think about the particular community that it is attempting to offend, or if you've never thought about that particular slur, as like an intentional offense to a specific group. Like, it is. um, so the and I will say, like, in our generation, it was completely divorced from that meaning. It was just meant to mean something that is not intelligent, right? A thing, specifically talking about, like, that thing is just so stupid. Or if you call someone that, you're just saying that they are unintelligent. But the thing is, right, that was originally used as a term for someone who is of below intelligence because of a mental disability. And so you're basically likening it to calling someone mentally disabled, and therefore, like, also they're not a valid person, or their ideas are not valid, or all this other stuff. So it gets into a much darker place when you start looking into, like, the history of this. And there are so many terms that the same thing applies. That's one of the reasons that using the R word is probably not such a great idea. Because again, it's essentially attempting to dehumanize people, which is not really cool. So we try not to do it as much as we can. um, No asteroid belt. No ring star. No ringed planet. Alright, 1 point of interest. 2 points of interest. 3, 4. No ships. Alright, tonight is hashtag also not sponsored by Lost and Grounded. No rest for dancers, red ale. That is a fairly nice rust color, but nonetheless somewhat red. Yeah, it's more toward orange, I think. This glass is the College of Engineering and Physical Sciences, or CEPS, from UNH, University of New Hampshire. That is our alma mater, both of the adults in this household. And at the bottom it says, glass contains -2 to the 4th e to the I pi ounces. So. Yep. I like a good red ale. I don't know what it is about it specifically that's, like, different. That makes it red specifically. Imagine could just be some, like, the kind of sugar that's used, or who knows. I'm sure this is something I could look up. Chinook and Mosaic hops provide a clean bitterness with pine and citrus notes. Yeah, it's pretty close. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes you do just need to call people out for acting unintelligently, but at the same time, It's one of those things that should not come at the expense of other people. And yes, again, in our generation, it was, or prior to our generation, it was divorced of that particular meeting. So, like, we'd never intended it, but intent, intent doesn't necessarily reduce any particular intent does not necessarily reduce any particular harm. So we usually take the advice from the people within those communities and ask them how they feel about it, because, okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that one particularly. I was trying to think of what word was more poetically fitting. Intent and impact. Thank you. um, so yeah, D&D Beyond. I was like, all right, so what can we do with this? And I went in and said, okay, let's look at the. Hang on, manage. Yeah, that's it. So what kind of fighting style do you want? I did interception. He's getting second wind. Weapon mastery. What do you want to do? Okay, let's pick 3 swords. So he's going to go with the long sword, which has a bonus ability of sap. If you hit a creature with a long sword, that creature then has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. Vex on, short sword. Vex. If you hit a creature with a short sword and deal damage to it, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. And because I wanted to be more Eskrima-like, I went with a scimitar, because it's, again, the Eskrima sticks are representative of machetes. So, curved blade, slightly, something that hacks and whatever else. So, I went with scimitar. With bonus ability, Nick. When you make the extra attack of the light property, so there's a thing. Every light weapon, you have the ability to attack with your offhand by using a bonus action. So you use your action to attack, you use your bonus action to do offhand. So if you have 2 weapons, that's how it works. If they have the light property, both of them. So when you make the extra attack of the light property, you can make it as a part of the attack action instead of a bonus action. So you can do both things. Centaur dual wielding scimitars. Yes, that would be cool. Yeah. So when you make this when you make the extra attack, the offhand attack, using the light property, you may make it as a part of your attack action instead of the bonus action. So you do both things during your one attack action. You can only take this attack once per turn. So Raphael, how's it going? So what's going to happen is that he's going to take the scimitar in his main hand and the short sword in his offhand. He's going to strike with the scimitar, which has the light ability, which has the light property. Then, because of the scimitar, I may take the offhand attack as part of that same action. So then we attack with the short sword. If the short sword hits and deals damage, I then have advantage on my next attack roll before the end of my next turn, which will be the scimitar, which is more likely to hit. So it's going to just roll ideally, this is going to roll these abilities in with each other, and it's going to be this kind of meta that's going to work together pretty well. um, and then if we're facing off against like a bigger enemy, I'm going to pull out the short sword and long sword. In which case, if you strike with the short sword on the main hand, you get advantage on your next attack roll with the long sword. And the long sword does disadvantage on the enemy if they strike. If you hit a creature with a longsword, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before your next turn. So we're just gonna roll these advantage for me and disadvantage for them over and over and over again against these bigger enemies. Now, with that, I will have to take it as part of as my action and bonus action. But I think I can deal with that using my bonus action to deal disadvantage against a strong enemy is going to be super important. And it just has disadvantage on its next attack roll, so it doesn't matter who it's against. So that's even better, because I don't have to like worry, oh no, it's going to decide not to attack me, it's going to attack somebody else. Alright, and then we're also going to be doing a feat at next level. So I'm wondering if I take Sentinel, which will force it to not move if it's been hit, and if it tries to run away from me and I use my reaction to hit it, if it gets hit, it stops dead. Like, it just cannot move. And the way that I have my strength, all of my attack rolls are currently +4. So, I get the feeling this is going to go pretty well. Granted, right, it's not always going to work, but should be exciting. And it may also make the GM be like, ugh. So we'll see how it goes. Right, so this was a class. Right, so then what's your subclass going to be? You could either do, again, the standard 3 that are out of the player's handbook, and there was another one that was sitting on D&D Beyond, and I'm like, can I use this? And he's like, absolutely, go for it. It's psionic power. So with an intelligence of +3, intelligence of 16, which gets a +3 on all rolls, the Psi Warrior uses psionic energy dice. At level 3, they've got 4 D6s with which to do all of their rolls and stuff like that. Some of your powers expend the psionic energy dice as specified in a power's description, and you can't use a power if it requires you to use dice, naturally, if they are expended. You regain 1 of your expended psionic energy dice whenever you finish a short rest, and regain all of them when you finish a long rest. Number 1, Protective Field. When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet takes damage and and you spend a reaction, you can then expend 1 psionic energy die to roll the die and reduce the damage taken by that number plus your intelligence modifier. For me, +3, because you create a momentary shield of telekinetic force. So that is also the exact same thing. It is also interception, only it works on me too. Psionic Strike. You can take one of your weapons and propel it with psionic force. Once on each of your turns, immediately after you hit a target within 30 feet of yourself with an attack and deal damage to it with a weapon, you can expend 1 psionic energy die, rolling it and dealing extra force damage to the target equal to the number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. So again, this is 1d6 plus 3. So somewhere between 4 and 9. Telekinetic movement. You can move an object or a creature with your mind. As a magic action, choose one target you can see within 30 feet. That target must be a loose object that is large or smaller, or one willing creature other than you. Transport the target up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Alternatively, if the target is tiny, you can transport it to or from your hand. Once you take this action, you can't do so again until you finish a rest, unless you expend a psionic energy die, no action required, to restore your use of it. So, I will have 4 dice. Okay. So once I use telekinetic movement, I can't use it again until I rest. But the other two, Psionic Strike and Protective Field, can be used once per turn, essentially. Yeah, because you're either using a reaction for a Protective Field, or it's attached to your attack action when you deal damage. It basically just shoves the weapon in harder. Not sure of your subclass, but it's nuclear powered. Okay. Ovimbia Biabus, we have finished the thing. And I didn't actually look for... No, we don't have any megaships. So that's not going to help here. Alright. Let's check these here. Obotrima. Yes, that is here.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah. So then I was like, well, I'm going to come up with a name for this character. And so I looked up... whoops. I should have looked at that before I left the system. Hang on. What is it? Bonus delivery. Have a contact in YZ Fornasis, which I just left. They have some important data that needs passing on to our client in the Bellway system. Please find this guy. Tika Elite Altruist Bagging Cooperative. That's a hell of a name. So I said that I was going to do these because, as it turns out, right, there could be some interesting like consequences of doing these random missions that keep popping up. I don't know of any other than just getting whatever you got there without having to go to a station. So we will accept this and then head to the YZ Fornasis system again after we scan this particular system. Looks like we already have 100% on it. Yep.
Fuel sweeping. Fuel sweeping complete.
Okay, we have belts and no rings at all. We have belts, we have no rings. That's not what I wanted. We also have, going back to the beginning, 1 point of interest, 2, 3, 4. 4 points of interest, no megaships. I will say the megaships sometimes, perhaps even often, will come to these systems on a rotating basis. So it is possible that I'm just kind of not paying attention to that. Like, I just don't know where these end up going to. It's not like it matters all that much. Right. Maybe one more before we go back. And let's try that one. Heal the Kagati, yes.
Frameshift drive charging.
Anyway, hope everybody's having a good time. Raphael, yep, been good. Glad to hear. If you all have been doing anything interesting or special, you know, let chat know. So the main thing that I had done for this character also in crafting like personality and stuff like that was I want them to be, I want them to have a secret. And I actually had this, I had this secret for Fuzzy White Mountain, the other character who had the Down East Maine accent. Nothing. Cool. No belts, no rings. I had the same secret for Fuzzy White Mountain. Fuzzy was a Firbolg whom I had stated was a captured member of a giant clan. He was out looking for who had like run his family off or potentially killed them, and then was come across by frost giants who were just like, "You're coming with us," and he's like, "Yeah, guess I am." Yeah, well, I guess this is what we're doing now. So then eventually he, went back with this giant clan and developed a taste for jerky made out of the fallen. Yes, people who fell in battle. So I had I had told the GM, like, okay, so what I'm doing is, like, I'm doing a sleight of hand check basically every time that he is off on his own. And she's like, yes, you are. He never got caught. Actually, he was seen doing something by one of the characters, and he didn't find out what it was. But I was like, you see Fuzzy slipping something into his robe. You don't know what it is. And he was suspicious because my previous character was stealing money from the party. But then we decided to move to England, so we ended up not getting any further in that particular game. Nope. Other way. Alright, one. One and one. Two and one. Three and one. Okay, so that's going to be 3 points of interest plus 1 mega ship. So now we go and go get that mega ship. Scan it down. So yeah. I was like, I want that same trait for this character, and it also makes complete sense because he is a dragonborn, so like he doesn't have the same taste in food as humans or elves or anybody else probably. I was like, you know, I'm gonna go with the flaw that I put on, at least that's visible to people, is must make his own food, generally inedible for others. Not specifying any more than that on paper, but the GM and I know exactly what that means. He is making jerky out of bandits. So I told this to the DM, and he's like, "Holy shit, you're going at this pretty hard."
Surface scanned by 50%.
Oh, just missed. I overlapped too much. If it only overlapped slightly less, it would have hit it in 1. Oh well. Nope, it's behind.
Surface scan complete.
Yeah. So that was the first thing that I said I wanted to do, was just, I know exactly what his flaw is. It's the exact same one as Fuzzy White Mountain. This group does not know it. The other group back home in Maryland knows, or suspects, or something. So personality traits, I ended up putting amused by social norms and does not ascribe to human values, naturally, because he's eating people. Um, it's not cannibalism, and he needs a source of fresh meat. So if it's readily available, why not use it? Down there. Ooh. Between the ring, man. Right, and then his ideals. I made everyone should be free to pursue their own livelihood and happiness. So I made him chaotic good. Naturally. But basically, like, he's not going to be interested in other people's, like, you know, some kids like, but Dad, I want to be an adventurer, and the adult is like, you are absolutely not going to be an adventurer, and I don't think that my character is going to be particularly impressed with any sort of argument that the father will be able to come up with. Just like, I mean, this is an adult child, right? Let him go. Figure out if he's any good at it. LFT 141 is another one. We're kind of skirting right around the edge of our, like, total zone here. Ugh, I want to go back to YZ Fornasis. We're just going to keep going further and further away. It's fine. But I think what would be mostly kind of involved in that one is going to be because he grew up learning how to become a cartographer, and specifically learning how to make, like, filigreed cartographic maps and doing all sorts of, like, decorative kind of things, and learning this particular art form. It's going to make him, like, more interested in letting other people pursue what makes them happy, you know, within reason. If murdering people makes you happy, we probably have some problems, but so, and then his bond is I owe the world the gift of my crafts: cartography, cooking, and swordplay. So when I went through, my next thing after, like, choosing fighter was what's his background. And looking through stuff, I was like, I don't really want to do, you know, this or that, or there were a whole bunch of them that I was just like, that's not really inspiring. It's not coming up with something really cool. So I chose artisan, because in doing artisan, I could make him a cartographer immediately. I could then also choose multiple other arts that he was trained in. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't really want the other ones, but it'll make at least somewhat... I'll make it make sense. So I decided to go with cartography, calligraphy, and cooking. And, you know, the master, who was... to whom I was apprenticed, would, and this is actually true to real life, would make me, the low person, the apprentice, the new apprentice, would make me go and make the food and do all this other stuff, the daily routine that was necessary for just keeping the shop open. So my character will have learned how to cook at least reasonably well for the tastes of other people. And in this case, I think it works out pretty well because, like, his food is inedible to anybody else. For another reason that I'll share in a few minutes. But his food is inedible to other people, besides it being human, sometimes. But more importantly, right, again, he had to cook for other people, so it had to be good by their standard. So I added that as another bonus there. Because when you take the artisan trait, you take 3 specializations. I was like, okay, might be going a little hard on that one.
System scan complete.
I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna. No. It says like right in the thing. You began mopping floors and scrubbing counters in an artisan's workshop for a few coppers a day, as soon as you were strong enough to carry a bucket. Um, so I chose the, uh, yeah, cartographer's tools, calligrapher supplies, and painter's supplies. Right, that was the 3 there. And then another one comes in from somewhere else, and I chose cooking for that one. Like, it ended up giving me 4 different, 4 different artisan specialties. I'm just like, all right, cool. But I'm going to limit the amount of calligraphy and painting that he does to be specifically the things that are related to cartography. So you make maps, you make pretty maps, and don't really do any calligraphy or painting otherwise. It can be done, but it's not going to be like his specialty. Ability scores, I chose put 1 into strength, dex, and intelligence because intelligence is going to need a boost. And I was like, okay, this also means that my ability scores, because we're doing point buys, I can make them odd numbers, and then those could add 1 to them to get them to the next even number, which gets me an extra plus whatever, or plus 1 to the ability score modifier. So my intelligence went from a +2 to a +3. My strength went from a +1 to a +2. I just pushed it that much further. Let's see. I still don't have faith, so I gotta look that up. Yeah, lifestyle we said was poor because essentially 1, artisan, 2, the world has been remade, and so we need to like actually notice how much destruction has happened. And 3, gold is essentially worth nothing. Like 99% of everything you do is now barter. So all of the gold that he made doing cartography is gone. Like it's just evaporated. Or rather, its worth has evaporated. Yeah, it was like, okay, now do physical characteristics. Hair, skin, eyes I made gray. Height, I rolled at 6'7", 266 pounds. Age 40, I figured middle age. And gender, I just put 3 question marks because He is amused by social norms and does not ascribe to human values. So, gender is a construct, and he just doesn't really get it. It is not applicable. Does not matter. So, I keep saying he because I think of him as a he, but like it'll probably be he, they. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Personality traits we did. Yeah, backstory I didn't really do. Right, so then I said let's do a Dragonborn. Again, big. Oh, and what is your draconic ancestry? So, as a Dragonborn, you get a breath weapon. And I was like, oh, let's see. His food is inedible to other people? Absolutely, it's fire. And then it's going to be, he likes hot stuff. So, like, all of his food is going to be inedible to other people, not just because it's potentially cannibalistic, but also because it is extremely hot. I was like, this is just too perfect. Like, all right, we got 3 ranged planets, and then we're gonna go and check what we have here. We have one megaship, 1 point of interest. Yep, 1 of each. Suppose I could have also gone with poison and then just been like, well, you know, it's poisonous, so nobody else can eat it. Or it's meant for a poison-aligned Dragonborn. Oops. Wanted, but belongs to the Paladin Consortium? Ugh, how dare. Four. 1, 2, 3. In theory, could be enough. Ooh. Oh, come on now. Federal dropship wanted, so he's just not going to care. He's going to try to bomb me. I'm not carrying anything, am I? Screw that guy. 1, 2, 3. Should do it. Hmm. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say we have a hackable data transmitter, but none of the, don't have the ship log. It's terrible. Ship log uplink.
Frameshift drive charging.
Gold is worthless. It's all Bitcoin. Yeah. Ads. Oops. That's fine. Okay, we'll go with that. Oh, come on. Go with that. And we'll go with that. Oh, okay. Got it all.
Surface scan complete.
Here I thought it was going to be two separate zones. Oh, okay. $22, huh? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Give or take. Alright, 9 total. Backside. Nice. 1. 2. 3.
Surface scanned by 50%.
4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Okay. On this side, we've got 1, 2, 3, That's too close. Eh. Should have gone way lower. Like there. Much better. Oops. Alright, we're already up to 24. That's too bad. That one. That one. We'll fire one out here. That's like way, way out there. Let's see where it hits. In theory, you should be pretty close to the center. Might even be farther than the center. Right at it. There we go. Okay. Let's see, we just did Megaship. Yep. Okay, we need to go back to YZ for analysis. So there's a person waiting for us in there. They are going to probably jump out in front of our ship and say, hey you, come over here, follow me, and then give us information when we get there. Then we thought about what, I pulled up a name generator online, of course, and then picked and chose from what I thought was best first and last names. So whereas he's not, yeah, I'm not carrying anything. Like, what are they doing? Don't understand. Oh, wait. Is it because I'm part of this mission? There. Perrins? No, it doesn't ring any bells. Yeah, okay. Unarmed parents. That. Go chase that. Alright, so low wake is when a person jumps into a particular star system. Or jumps within the star system. So for languages, I ended up taking, obviously common everybody gets, Draconic, which thematically obviously makes sense, and then just Elvish, because I was thinking, like, if you're going to make fancy maps, of course they're going to have Elvish script all over them. And whereas something like Goblin might actually be useful in this setting, I'm not really sure. Six probes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be enough.
Surface scanned by 50%.
Oh, okay.
Surface
Made it.
scan complete.
5 megameters. Keep that speed right about there. No, what? God, come on. Alright, we're dropping. Huh. Random encounter. Yuri Grom. There was a fourth ship. Yep, right there. Yuri Gagarin. Welp. There he is. Okay, so I really hope that this guy is not going out to 366,000 light seconds away, because, again, I'm not putting up with that. Create the contact, receive the data. So that's telling me that I need to jump out and jump back in. Ridiculous. We're going to go to city sector because we have not been there yet.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yep. So the name that we went with for this Dragonborn character, first name was Impak, I-M-P-A-K, which sounds like impact, which is good for a fighter, and would have been better with maces or a great hammer, but we're not going there.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete.
And then last name ended up picking a last name just on like how badass it sounded. Pretty much it. Which is Kilhader. I don't think I'm going to be using any particular accent type. It's just going to be mostly American / British. You know, whatever pleases me in the moment. I was originally thinking a little bit like Keith David, but you know, not quite as rich a golden voice as he has.
System scan complete.
Alright, and then back again.
Frameshift drive charging.
And then there was also a little sign in the player's handbook that said, like, when you're a Dragonborn, typically, you know, your clan will also come up with a like some sort of name for you, a nickname, something you're good at, something like that. That'll kind of give you an idea of like where your place is in society, that sort of thing. And thinking that he's a cartographer and I also play Elite Dangerous, I thought the engineer's name, Farseer, would actually be a really thematically appropriate thing to do. Right? Given that he is a cartographer and probably, if not does currently, will own a spyglass, like, you know, distance, literal, actual distance seeing. Nothing so far. Yeah, I'm just hoping he didn't actually go all the way out to the really far stuff. So that would be really sad. I was hoping that he'd just kind of like come back, because you know how games are. They do that all the time. Right, and then Impacts, picture, I went on to Hero Forge and I decided to make now that it's come out properly, I kind of want to make another one, but at the same time, like, I've got kind of a lot of minis already. Nope, not order. Boo. Arrows. Ah, there we go. Good. You all do get to see this one. So, impact kill harder. And give him the scimitars to use here. Try and... Sorry, one scimitar. Here. And then on his back and side, I've got the long and short sword, respectively. So, ought to be pretty cool. I am not seeing our mission target, so this is unfortunate. I really hope that we don't have to go this far, because that's going to be a massive pain in the ass. Okay. So we have enough fuel that this is going to be just fine. So the Mandalay is really made for this, and we're going 4,200, 4,200 times C. So, yay! And our fuel consumption is limited to just under 300 per hour. 300 tons, I think, per hour. So this is actually really good. What are we looking for again? What? It left. Oh no, here it is. On-run parents. Old moat. Low energy FSD wake. I don't even know if it's somebody like I actually care about, but High intensity conflict zone. Nope. We're out. I was hoping it was a little bit different, but nope. Nope, nope, nope. Oops. Oh. Dropped too close. Oh. There's other ships down there. These guys are gonna absolutely burn. Another 3? Slightly bizarre, but alright. There he is. Jeez. Slow down. And yet again, I really hope you're coming from nearby. Okay, so 1. Is that him? Yep, it is. Oops. Focus. No.
Surface scan complete.
That is absolute nonsense. That wake should have held out. Nonsense.
Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage.
Yeah, I know you've been sent to find me, but freaking get over here. No. Well, I guess while we're here. No, wait. There he is. No. There we go. Untypical shield scans. There we go, much better. going to go to Baowie, drop off this information. We also have not been there yet, so we will fill in the blanks for this planet.
Incoming mission critical message. Fuel survey.
Saudi ring. I have 11 minutes to get a bonus. Oh, unwanted there. East India Company. Damn. Okay, got 100%. Got absolutely nothing in the system. Cool. Why is it even in my list? We have 2 points of interest. Is that it? Probably. Alright. 2 points of interest. Pretty much nothing else. Nope. Nowhere near slow enough. No. Oh, really? Wow. Forgot where it was a second there. Alright. So we're going to go with this one and go with reputation because nope. Alrighty. So with that, we're going to bring this one to a close. See you all tomorrow for mathy stuff. We're going to be back in the evening. If anybody has any particular questions, feel free to drop them in Pen Center's Discord. And as always, we have our good friends at Elements. So we have Dawn Does Math, Zach at E to the 2I Pi, Penn Center, Ian Stuckey, Denny Highway, and Dr. Gold at Actual Education, who was in earlier. Thanks for stopping in. Merriweather Remark, Brian at Noble Penniless, Phobos at Phobos Dream, Physics and Depression, and XMDI 0 for all of our mathy type streamers. Granted, not everybody does math particularly. It could be coding, it could be whatever branch of science they're doing, but at some point or another, right? It's all pushing education further, seeing what we can do to help each other here on Twitch. So if you would like to stop in there and drop questions or anything like that, feel free to do so. And if not, I will see you all tomorrow. My name is Obi-Wan Pez, and this we gotta go slow because I forgot completely to actually start one of these. We're gonna go see Rogan27, who's doing Chants of Senar. They are pretty awesome. We're a bunch of friends, or have a bunch of friends over with the former Geek and Sundry crew, those who are now on Alt Haven, formerly known as Q Times. So, hope to see you all tomorrow, and see you later. My name is Obi-Wan Pez, and this is N Simplex Pachinko. There we go. Have a good night.